Hey guys, how's it going? Jared Bronstein here, and welcome to a video here for you on life's biggest questions. Today we'll be answering the intriguing question of what if everyone on Earth planted one tree? We're talking about 7 billion trees here. Before we explore this idea, make sure to subscribe, click that bell icon so you never miss a video, and share this one with a friend. Also, let me know if you've ever planted a tree by dropping a comment down below. So as you've probably heard by now, the YouTube community has come together with the goal of planting 20 million trees. It really is a great movement, and it goes to show that if enough people come together, great things can happen. Which has led us to this question. So what would happen if everyone on Earth planted a tree? Well, currently it's believed there are approximately 7.7 billion people on Earth at the time of this recording. That number, of course, is constantly changing between newborns and deaths happening every second of every day worldwide. So what would happen if every single person in the world planted a tree? There are tons of variables here. What kind of trees would be planted? Where would they be planted? And how many would actually fully grow? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But let's get into it and see how all this would possibly affect us. It's believed anywhere between 3.5 billion to 7 billion trees are cut down annually. And that's just cut down. That doesn't include those that are burned by wild or man-made fires, trees that just die or get knocked down by extreme weather conditions. So to simply say if we planted 7 billion trees, we'd be right where we were before would be a huge overstatement. Of course, if everyone planted a tree on top of organizations like 10 Tree, who plant 10 trees for every purchase of their apparel, and the Arbor Day Foundation, who is planning to plant 100 million trees by 2022, it definitely wouldn't hurt. We need to constantly increase the tree population on Earth. Not only do trees help fight climate change, but we use them for tons of everyday products, such as medication, cosmetics, soap, gum, paint, newspapers, and cereal boxes to name a few. As you can see, we use trees for a range of different things. And it doesn't look like we're finding alternatives anytime soon, which is fine. With that being said, we can't keep taking and not replenishing, because eventually, we will run out. So if every person in the world planted a tree, let's say where they live, well, that would mean there would be close to 3 billion trees planted alone between China and India. The United States would see close to 330 million trees planted, whereas Russia would see around 145 million trees planted. Although black walnut, red oak, and red pine trees, among a handful of others, are known to absorb the most carbon, that doesn't necessarily mean planting just those trees worldwide would be the most beneficial. Certain trees would thrive in certain areas, and that is what should be determined when planting each tree. Just because a tree is planted somewhere doesn't necessarily mean it will grow or thrive. An example would be planting a tree that is found in the Amazon rainforest somewhere in Russia. It's a much different climate. It probably wouldn't grow very big or very long. This would make the tree planting pretty pointless. And although the idea of 7 billion trees being planted sounds and looks good on paper, it's more than just planting them that matters. Aside from planting them properly, someone would have to maintain and take care of the trees. If we were to simply plant the tree and leave it to fend for itself, it would most likely die relatively quickly. You need someone constantly paying attention to it, giving it water on a regular basis, and making sure it's been planted properly so the roots can grow. If 7 billion people planted a tree, I think it's safe to say at least 10% of those trees wouldn't make it. And even that's a stretch. Realistically, 1 of every 4 trees, maybe even 1 in every 2, wouldn't make it to their full potential. It would really depend on who's caring for them, among many other factors, such as natural disaster, the types of tree, and when they were planted. And even if the trees were planted, it would take decades for us to see any real positive change from the newly planted trees. According to reports, it takes decades before new forests can mature enough to store large amounts of carbon. And that's what we need if we want to battle climate change. These trees also couldn't be harvested. I mean, that would defeat the whole purpose, but as previously mentioned, we use trees for things ranging from paper to soap to paint. So how can we live without those things? It seems to be quite a tough situation. Especially as the population continues to rise, we seem to be using more and more of the Earth's natural resources. That being said, it technically means more people to plant trees. But as we all know, not every single person in the world is going to plant a tree. As great as that would be, it's just not going to happen. So we must rely on organizations like the Arbor Day Foundation, Trees for the Future, International Tree Foundation, among many others that will continue making their focus tree planting. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to say if everyone in the world planted a tree, leading us to over 7 billion trees planted, everything would be okay, it really wouldn't. I mean, considering how it's believed we cut between 3.5 to 7 billion trees down annually, planting 7 billion trees would just slow the process of climate change down a bit, but not to the point that it'd make a substantial difference. Again, it could take decades for us to see any real changes in regards to the trees absorbing carbon, and every time we cut down trees, we're releasing more carbon into the world, which means if everyone in the world were to plant trees right now, and somehow, some way, all 7 billion trees fully grew, after 10 years, that would still mean we have 10 years worth of carbon that would need to be absorbed. And assuming we cut down 7 billion trees, well, every year, That'd be a lot of carbon. All in all, I think our best bet is to continuously raise awareness to climate change. Share videos which raise awareness to these types of initiatives, and if you can, donate to plant a tree. At the end of the day, even if we can't completely stop climate change, slowing its process down is still progress. As unfortunate as it is, that seems to be our reality. Our world is slowly dying on us, but if we could do things to help slow the process down, I say why not. As always, I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and click that bell. For now, let's reply to some comments from the video. What if we burned 20 million trees? Avery the Cuban American said, MrBeast, am I a joke to you? LBQ, yes. We're not trying to start a war with MrBeast. I'm totally here for the initiative. We're just trying to look at all sides of the equation here. He wants to grow 20 million. We did a video on that. What if we planted or grew 20 million trees? We wanted to look at what would happen if you burned down 20 million trees. Just an idea. Hope you guys liked the video. Emlo the Puppet said, MrBeast has left the lobby. Some of these comments, guys, are amazing. Again, we're all the love to MrBeast. I know he'll reach his goal, and I'm actually very happy that he's part of this initiative, so good for him. Comrade Galanai said, what if the US presidency was decided with a 30-man Royal Rumble instead of an election? Now, are you talking like a WWE Royal Rumble where they throw them over the ropes? Or are you talking about like every man for himself, fight to the death kind of thing? Because if it was fight to the death, I think it would be the best fighter. But if it was like a throw him over the ropes kind of thing, I think people would form actually, even if it was to the death, I think people would still form alliances. I don't know. I mean, you gotta give me more of a context here so I can answer the question. But on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein. Do forgive me if I do sound a little sick or congested. I'm just getting over a cold, so I apologize if this is a little tough to listen to. But thank you guys for your continued support, and we appreciate you guys viewing this video. Like I said, share it with a friend, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and click that bell so you never miss a video, and we'll see you guys again soon.